Good morning, Midnight's Edge fans. We're here to tell you that we have so much more to offer you now at our Mixed Tees store. Not just t-shirts and hoodies, but we do have plenty of those, and new designs for that matter. You can also get mugs, and of course our brand new limited Amber Turds stained blanket. That's right, just for your bed or wherever you need it. So head on over to Mixed Tees now and get all your apparel and goodies from Midnight's Edge.
Get up, wake up, this is your final warning. It's time for Midnight Edge in the morning. The gang is ready to go and it's time for the show. It's time for Midnight Edge in the morning.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to Midnight's Edge in the Morning. TGIF. Brought to you by Mounds. Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't. Speaking of, hello, Paulie.
I am a nut.
You are definitely a nut.
Yeah, that's
I've got nuts.
I just walked into this, man. Come on, you gotta.
Hey, yeah. Tom had nobody, and now we still have nobody.
Nobody knows the troubles like Tom.
Swing low.
Shots fired by Mr. Paul Shadow.
How you guys doing, man?
Carry me home.
We
Happy
got two
Friday.
Pauls here. We got Paul Lee and we got Paul from Canada.
Yeah. What about and Brawley
Yeah, and Paul Lee
Gotta
and
be a
Brawley,
brawl.
yeah.
and
Yeah, they're
Tommy?
the ones that have to be plugged into the wall.
Wall brawl.
I'm the only one
Paul.
wearing headphones here, it looks like. So
Yeah.
Well,
You look good in them. Your beard's looking very good, sir.
it looked like crap. I had to go fix it, remember? Like, what the
Oh, it
hell's
looks
going on
thick.
here?
It looks thick.
I hope so.
Uh,
Yes, we have the one, the only Mr. Canoehead with us. That's true.
oh, hey, Jill.
Mhm.
Yes, that's
Ah,
right.
Jill. Thank you, Jill. Oh, there he is.
What do you got there?
ah,
The canoe
hell
head
is-
shirt.
Oh, Canoehead.
Leatherhead shirt.
Canada's
There we
aluminum
go.
crime fighter.
Looks a little chubby in that image.
I'm chubby.
You're not that chubby, though. That looks like me cosplaying as fucking Mr. Canoehead.
I found a picture of us, Jado.
You did?
I hope there's nothing chubby about it.
No. Well, I
Probably.
Mm.
It was when you were in L.A. and we went to a Mexican restaurant.
Yep. That was.
I'm so glad the kids aren't listening yet.
Oh,
Look how hydrated we are.
No. We are much safer to watch than Netflix for children.
This is true. We're going
that's
to talk
later.
about that.
I did get a comment on the because I'll simulcast this over to the Bleeding Fool YouTube channel.
simulcast.
Is that what they call that? What do they call that?
Stealing.
EFAP? No, I'm
I
just
have no
kidding.
idea. Simulcast, I believe, is the correct
I think
term.
that is the technical
Or
term for you
threesome.
broadcasters out there. And I got a comment that says that he loves the show, but that one guy cusses so much it hurts his ears. I don't know.
Not me.
I don't know.
We all
I
It's
curse.
try
got to
to
be
limit.
me.
I try to
Oh.
limit.
The Battle of the Curses.
It has got to be me.
Maybe you're surly some mornings.
Oh, are
Surly.
you fucking kidding me?
That's a nice word for it.
Sorry about your ears.
Surly doesn't even cover it, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But we got Tim Hayes here, who's been here for 54 months.
Nice.
The man,
Studio
the myth,
54.
the legend, Tim Hayes.
Yeah,
How you
man.
doing? Jeremiah Hembry has been here for 15 and says, what was the actual budget for Superman? Was it less than 190?
Unconstant.
Is that a word?
Incontinent.
Yeah, I don't know. Please tell me the budget because I'm dying to know.
Mm.
That's basically what I was heard. It was somewhere around the 190 with the advertising and everything. Somewhere between, 225 and 250.
Oh, it's probably more than that.
I think they were saying up to 300 max.
Maybe. I don't know. But this whole thing about the whole Ted Sarandos thing, we're going to get into that here shortly.
Yeah.
That's why it's coming up. Drew Tipton said, what would you all consider to be the highlight of Iger's tenure at CEO, or did he just ruin all the good decisions later? He only really made one good decision, and that was making sure that Pixar didn't get to leave. That's about it. And did he have anything to do with greenlighting Pirates of the Caribbean? That would be number 2. Otherwise, no. None. Not a zip zilch. Anybody?
I thought the mustached fairy godmother at the Disney theme parks was nice. Other than that, I mean, a highlight, good things or bad things? Are highlights always good?
The high, I believe, indicates, yeah.
Nothing, Drew. I consider nothing Mr. Iger did other than his temporary departure. And then he came back. So he wiped that out. That's my feelings on the whole matter.
I mean, even my point has an asterisk to it.
Yeah, exactly. The Iger term will have an asterisk next to it at all times. Didn't he get knighted or some kind of thing? Didn't he receive a knighthood?
A Knigget?
Can you do that if you're not a member
I believe
of the royal?
He did. I think we reported on it.
I think Paul is the only one here who could be knighted.
Being a member of the British realm?
No, Bob Iger received an honorary knight of the Order of the British Empire back in June of 24. Yeah.
See, Paul, he would be a real one. He'd be like Highlander.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Let me check on a noise. I just
Canoehead and
that would be an interesting
United.
Yes, Sir Canoehead.
Yeah, we have
to
something called the Order of Canada.
You know, that'd be a hell of a nice skit. Is if Canoehead. There you go. There's a combat skit for Canoehead. He gets knighted. Write it down. Miller's in the house. Says, so think the Senate blocks the merger. Well, that's kind of the overall arc of the story today. So let's bring this up on screen here. Netflix antitrust hearing morphs into culture war fight over wokeness, according to CNN.
Who has the majority in the Senate?
I do.
He does. Yes. I believe it's Republican controlled right now. Is it not, guys?
Curious.
I think like by 1 or some shit like that.
Yeah, very, very slim, but
Right.
I believe it is. Yeah. So what happened here? So this was a long, grueling session with Ted Sarandos about the ins and outs of Netflix and Warner Brothers, and it kind of got a little heated over some of Netflix's what do you call it? Entertainment or shows and programming. I think it was a word. Programming, I think was the word I was looking for. So, Paul, let's start with you, since you're actually somebody who has a background in television. Did you see the hearing, or did you see any highlights at least?
Yeah, I saw a whole crap ton of highlights.
So, what's your reaction to some of this stuff?
Well, I mean, the guys were grilled pretty good. Hawley is a very good. Well, all the 3 guys that I saw raking them over the coals. It was very entertaining. Whether it comes to fruition, whether it means anything, certainly they're going to take this back. Interestingly enough, there were the admissions or accusations that Netflix has an awful lot of Wi-Fi password people content, especially in the children's area, that very much what would you say, the percentage of the population that's Wi-Fi password people outstrips, at least on their children's shows, what the reality of what the proportion is towards the audience. So they talked about that. But the most interesting thing was how much money Netflix exclusively participates in the Democratic Party. That I thought was
an interesting moment. Yes,
that was an interesting moment. So, in the end, I didn't for one moment believe. I can't remember the president's name of Netflix. Sarandos.
Susan Sarandos.
Susan Sarandos.
Mm-hmm.
I did believe that he honestly felt that the television that Netflix supported a wide variety of people out there. But one of the things that it's hard to get away from, if the majority of your content is coming from Hollywood, Hollywood is already biased, right? I mean, we know Hollywood wouldn't let any number of Republican supporting shows or give them a very hard time. They wouldn't greenlight them. Netflix gives money to all sorts of individuals based on their connections to the producers. And again, I'm not promoting wanting more Republican oriented right wing style content, but on the other hand, what is quote unquote right wing content? I think this is a misnomer, because I think most of us who are tired of the Justice Warrior content, we just want neutral stuff. So why is neutral stuff categorized as right wing when we don't want overt, proportionally out of proportion content of a certain group that just makes no sense to the majority? It's such a weird skewing of the conversation, because even Holly was talking about right wing or right of center or Republican friendly content. I think friendly content to everybody is one that does not have a political agenda, and Netflix absolutely does promote an awful lot of that, and it's subtle. I mean, we've talked about it. I don't want to yak about the fact that it seems to be a disproportionate number of shows with girl bosses in the lead. Now, do I want to go back into the era where it was only men leading shows? No, that's not what we want. Do we want diverse casting in police procedurals? Sure, it makes sense. Have the show reflect what the location is, if it's in Philadelphia or if it's in, if it's Philadelphia, we just saw this recruiting video that had a crap ton of dancing plus size Black women, dancing to recruit Philadelphia police policemen and women. So if I saw a Philadelphia show and the vast majority of cops were all plus size Black women, I'd go, okay, that seems believable just based on the recruitment video I just saw. But I mean, I'm joking. But you don't do a British show with a Black
Black History Month. Show some respect.
And Black History. I mean, right now we're in the middle of Black History Month, so I think that's really what we're looking for. And I thought that was interesting that these guys were really squirming. Was it fair, the commentary that Hawley and the two and Cruz and the other guy were pressing him on? Are they going to force some change onto Netflix? But that's the question I have to you guys. Do you think this will have an effect on Netflix's programming? And do you think they're actually going to nix the deal?
Okay, so that's a multi-layered question. And that kind of takes us back to the super chat initially. No, I don't think they're going to block this. I think this was a big horse and pony show. I think they just wanted to be able to let their, concerns be voiced and aired out. But at the end of the day, this is going to happen one way or the other, probably. Netflix will find a way, I bet. But that being said, I found it very refreshing to see these guys put on a public, platform where they're being asked these tough questions that we've been asking for years. Because, no, they're not wrong. Like, we've done the research. Netflix Entertainment does have more LGBTQ entertainment in their kids programming than anybody else. And just like you pointed out, they brought up the fact that they are like 99% Democrats are the ones that they're involved with, nobody else. So these are very good points, right? Regardless of what CNN wants to paint with the picture on this, headline. I mean, I think these are genuine concerns, because you have a company now, and even that gobbledygook that Serrano's tried to give as far as if you're not watching YouTube, if you're watching YouTube, you're not really watching CBS, you're not watching this, you're watching MTV. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? don't even know what the hell you're saying half the time. And he doesn't really seem to understand how the ins and outs of the basic industry work, it felt like at some points. It's like, yeah, you know how Netflix works, but you don't know how the industry works. You know, and the way he squirmed under certain questions was just redonkulous. And he could easily like got out of some of these questions, which I don't even understand. But I was happy to see them being asked these things and them being brought to the table. But I don't think it's going to make a difference at the end of the day. What do you guys think, Paulie? Do you think this is still going to happen, or?
From what I know, there's something else going down. So that's all I can say.
Oh, you can't say that and just leave us hanging, motherfucker.
You just asked me. Like,
Oh, there's something else going down. What's something else?
So in a way, I'm kind of answering your question. There's more to be revealed. But I do think this, if anything, really kind of sheds light on some stuff, right? That I only saw a few minutes of that Senate hearing.
Donors was the word I was looking for earlier with the Democrats. I couldn't for some reason think of it.
Yeah.
The problem is that Netflix is buying primarily from a left of center group of entertainment honchos. Although what's his name running Warner Brothers is a friend of the Republicans, right?
Well, and I think that's kind of where, you know, it's kind of seen as Warner Brothers is still kind of seen as a neutral company, Paul. I mean, that's the thing is, out of Hollywood, of all the studios, what ones can you sit there and go aren't making completely almost, you know, nothing but woke entertainment? And the only ones you can really point at are like Warner Brothers, Sony, and Lionsgate. Those are the only ones I can really say, yeah, they're kind of doing neutral-ish entertainment, and that's why those three companies right now are probably having the most success. Believe it or not, where Universal and Disney and whatever's left over in those little companies beyond that are doing the same shit, where they're, you know, doing the woke entertainment and all that kind of business, and they're the ones that are suffering. You know, Universal not so much; they're kind of nearly in the middle, but they still have quite a bit of woke content that comes out of there. And Peacock is a failure. Let's be real. Regardless of what happened with the Hulu Disney thing, they lost too, because Peacock is nothing for Universal to brag about. But anyway, at the end of the day, this is all about how big Netflix really is, right?
Yeah.
And that's really what this whole argument was about. Now, Chris, so do you think the Senate is going to allow Netflix to be swallowed up by, or Warner Brothers to be swallowed up by Netflix?
Oh yeah. I mean, these culture war rants were just, you know, for sound bites. They're not going to stop it. It was a farcical performance. And, you know, I mean, if they were serious about dominance, media dominance, they'd be looking at YouTube, right? And they're not. And Sarandos walked away without any concessions on DEI, any concessions on the kids' content, or any deal terms. There's been no call for the DOJ to intervene. That was just that was bread and circuses is all this was.
Hawley did demand having more product being made in the U.S., whatever that means.
Well, but isn't that more red meat for the right? Right.
Sure.
I mean, that's what the Patriots want. And listen, I don't disagree with anything that Josh Hawley or Mike Lee or Schmidt and most of Ted Cruz say, but it's just lip service, man. All of it is lip service. They do it on both sides of the aisle. The left wingers do the same thing. They say they're going to do stuff. You know, it's just performative.
Well, they're playing to their constituents.
That's right.
Well, yeah, because they're all like, can we get you to say that now? It's like, well, yeah, he can say it all day till he's blue in the face. Yeah. I'd be more like, can I get that in writing? It's like, what are you going to accomplish here with any of this stuff? You can sit there and get him to verbally commit to a 45-day window for theaters, but that doesn't mean he's going to do it.
That's right. And the only part of it that's in writing, other than the Senate records, is in the donation plea emails that went out that afternoon from every one of these senators. How I fought for you against Netflix today. Send $5 now. You know.
Yeah. That's it. That's exactly right. I mean, he should have asked, "You promise no gay Klingons?"
Please come on.
Please. At
And then Serranos would have been like, that's Paramount Plus. That's not us.
No, I know that, but I mean,
Funny,
he could.
though.
He
I
could
know,
be
but-
crossing the aisle. We have no idea.
Please don't give Zack Snyder another project where
Yes.
he's in charge.
Well, I
of
don't
it.
think we have to worry about that. But no, like, this is a very
That would have
important
been
point.
great for Ted to say that, though, right? You don't have to worry about that, Senator.
Yeah.
And
But
everybody
influentially, like
smoked
net,
cigarettes.
there is a point to be made here with this because influentially, Netflix right now is it, right?
Mhm.
Like they're the ones who are getting all the viewership. I can't even think of hardly any network shows that are getting the kind of numbers that right now that even Stranger Things and stuff are. And they're still piddly numbers, don't get me wrong. Like the only things that come close are maybe the Sheridan shows.
Yeah.
So like who is the king of the mountain right now? Netflix is. So what was
Okay,
this
yeah.
whole thing? This whole thing for them was to make them look less influential. Keep that in mind, right? Regardless, because that was what these guys were trying to say: is you guys are influencing the youth of America. This had less to do with Queer Eye for the straight guy and more to do with the fact that you got. And they said, and this is not even a lie or a hyperbole. They literally have like a gay character in almost every single one of their kids' shows,
Right.
and or trans character, right?
Yeah.
So this isn't just one or two fucking shows. This isn't just She-Ra, where every character was gay. Mind you, that's another thing that people keep forgetting. And I'm not even kidding. I'm not even making that as no, literally, like almost every character on that show is fucking gay.
That's
Down
right.
to Bo even. Like, I didn't even watch it. I've heard every week a new character's gay. Like, that's the reveal. It's like, Jesus, is that all this is? Is a coming out of the closet show? So yeah,
What
this
show-
is what,
What show
the
you guys
She-Ra
talking about?
show.
Yeah.
The She-Ra
What?
show. The She-Ra.
What's that?
She-Ra, you know,
Yeah,
He-Man's
yeah,
sister.
girlfriend.
That's a new. Isn't that an old show?
It was like 5 years ago on Netflix. They rebooted it and like everybody was fat and gay.
Really?
Not even-
Everyone
Yeah.
will be fat and gay. Didn't you see Wall
That-
E? Come on.
Netflix went through. I think they turned the corner on their DEI pressure tactics. I mean, we all noticed there was a real upswing in DEI managed, manipulated content. And then I don't know what it was, but it was almost like they turned on the dime. Not that they didn't play out material that had been made during that decision-making process, but it seemed like suddenly they weren't concentrating on it as much. And,
Well-
and I mean, as far as the gay stuff and the kids shows, it's actually lazy lesson. What he said, social justice lesson management. If you take a look at Arthur the Aardvark, there were great lessons, social lessons in every single show where they didn't have to rely on the laziness of relying on the type of person they were dealing with.
Yeah.
And I just find that the kid shows, the few that I've seen, they just don't know how to write moral tales anymore. Morality tales. They
Well,
just don't know
no.
how to do it. They
I
think
agree with
that
you.
the-
I think most of it, though, is more indoctrination now. They have it. It's almost used as a platform. You know how Mr. Rogers would come out and he's going to
Sure.
some sort of teaching lesson.
Yep.
And I think that's what they see these as. You've got shows like the Babysitters Club where the kid is critiquing a doctor for using the wrong pronouns. You got the Dead End Paranormal Park where the main character is transgender, and basically the story, although he's got a little demon friend, is when he can come out to his family and everybody. You got Coco Chameleon, which is a little toddler with a biracial gay father, husbands for parents. These shows are all aimed at very young children.
Right. But my point is, I think they're more being lazy. Because
It's
they-
not creative, if that's what you're saying.
yeah,
It's
I'm
there's
saying
something more
that
to it, I
there is
think,
Arthur
Paul.
the Aardvark, or even you had Miss Frizzle. What was it? The science show where you had
The
actually
Bus?
the lead character was a lesbian. I mean, Magic School Bus.
That's what I just said. Yeah.
Have you guys seen all these shows that you guys talking about?
I've only seen clips from one of the shows that I was talking about. The rest of these things just get reported and we just verify them.
I think you guys secretly watched all the episodes, love
Okay,
them
I
all. And
do
shit.
have the Blu-ray for Kokomon.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
But I
Like, why
haven't
do you guys
opened it
know
yet,
so much
but I
about
think
all
it's
these
gonna be
shows?
valuable on the resale market.
Well,
Queer panel on Fridays, guys.
Queer
queer,
panel with
queer
the-
eye
Well,
for the
we,
straight
we
guy
ran
here.
through that here in the CBC. I think the children's division got taken over by Wi-Fi password people, and then suddenly the content changed dramatically.
That's
But
what I was
you-
going to say a minute ago. Was that whenever there's a about face, it's because someone they got rid of people.
Right.
So that could probably be a why the about face, or I guess the tonal change.
Mhm.
At least now it's got to show up in programming. That and all jokes aside, it's like this is kids programming, guys. Chill the fuck out.
you would, yeah,
so
they need to.
We'll see.
Maybe that's what will come from this. Maybe Sarandos was visibly shaken at the end of this and says,
I
"Man, we
thought he looked.
got to tamp it down."
Yeah. I mean,
I think the shows. Let's take animated stuff for kids in the '60s, '70s, like the Pink Panther, mostly silent, or anthropomorphic characters, is all situational slapstick humor. Kids loved it. Of course, the music was a great theme song for Mancini, and the characters didn't even speak, so you didn't know anything about their pronouns or their ideology or their sexual relationships, and it was aimed at kids, obviously, and kids were entertained. Why do we need to know all these weird? I love this. What is this Wi-Fi people you guys keep?
Wi-Fi password people.
What is that? I mean,
Well, LGBTQ plus, it's your Wi-Fi password.
oh, gotcha. Okay, I'll try to adopt that. So they've just sort of taken over. It's not about making.
Well, I think also the difference is that I've worked on children's cartoons, and nobody I worked with ever thought that what they were doing was really important. And I think that's one of the changes, is that the people who are working on children's cartoons and imbuing them with this kind of content really think that they're important and doing something of value for society. None of the cartoons I worked on, people didn't think that. They would have a moral theme maybe, but they didn't think that they were changing the world.
right.
And I think that's one of the differences, the level of arrogance and narcissism of the people who are doing this stuff now.
I'm not saying that's not part of the problem, Paul, but I do feel that there's got to be some other agenda here. Like there are, we've seen the Disney videos where they have a not so secret gay agenda, right?
Yeah.
You're right about the password people being involved here, but I think it has less with them to do with them thinking that they're doing something with a platform that's so prestigious. I think they know exactly what they're doing.
Right.
They're doing the Joe Camel thing. They know it. They know that we got to get them young. And then that way we have a whole new generation, whether they're gay or not. I mean, in their brains, they're saying like, oh, they'll be more accepting. It's like, no, you're just going to twist society into this weird thing where you're now having kids when they start hitting puberty going, you know what? I don't want to be a girl, or I don't want to be a boy. I transitioned as a kid because everybody told me that's what I was, just because I thought a boy's toy was cool for one day, or just because I decided that, makeup was cool for one day. And now all of a sudden I'm stuck with tits. You know what I mean? Like that's where we're at with this thing.
But you have to blame it on the people who are greenlighting these shows. Because
partially you're not wrong, but at the same time, it's the
and
parents.
it's also the things that they're asking for. So you've got two things. Number one, you want to sell a product. So you go to a studio and you see the kinds of things that they're looking to purchase. If nothing on their list looks like a Western featuring all men, well, you're going to lose the pitch, right? I mean, it's simple as that.
I think Tom is right in that. I think there's sort of this spectrum of there's these useful idiots, the Wi-Fi password people who are just on board, right? And then you have people that have a bit more of an agenda, like what came out in the Reimagine Tomorrow.
And then you have the other portion of people who may not agree with it necessarily, but they just say, "Oh yeah, sure," or just like keep their jobs.
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
And
so you have a lot of that.
And if a child is watching a show, and like you said, Tom, every week a new character comes out as gay, that child is going to naturally start wondering, oh, well, I like my friend who is a same-sex person, and maybe we'll smooch and I'll see if I'm gay, right? And then with the right parental guidance and the right media ecosystem, they can feel that way too. I don't necessarily think that it's just a gene you are born with, no more than I think that, an alcoholic can't stop drinking. I think that a lot of times people are sort of a result of their nurturing and environment on a lot of things.
Well, I think the main issue is that, having come from a background with gay family members and also being in a business with a lot of gay people, is that people are not talking about being gay. They're just doing their job. This is the mistake that Starfleet Academy is doing and these children's shows are doing, is that you could have a gay character who at no time reveals themselves to be gay because they're just a human being doing their thing.
Right.
Like, I mean, that's the joke of all of this. To me, it's performative. It is. We are doing so much good by belaboring this topic over and over again. Can you have a situation where a kid might be afraid to come out to their parents because of whatever reason? Sure. But that's an adult discussion. That's not a discussion for 5-year-old kids.
Yeah, it's also just separate than, I really don't agree with you, Chris, as a recovering alcoholic, but whatever, this is, to me, you're going off on.
No, I'm saying an alcoholic can stop drinking.
You're going up into the weeds on something else. This programming, the old school programming, all the kids, right, whether they're gay or not, we all loved it and grew up with it. I think all we're just asking is cut the shit out of the kids programming.
I don't disagree.
Yeah,
right. Like can we all agree there?
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I feel like some things though, maybe Sarandos could pump the brakes a little bit after this. I also think there was a case just last month where a 22-year-old was detransitioning and won a $2 million lawsuit against their psychologist who had convinced them to have the transition surgery so that they could get rid of their thoughts of suicide and so on. And that's unprecedented that you could sue someone who influenced you to do one of these transgender surgeries. And I think that is going to cause a bit of a chilling effect on the people promoting transitioning. I don't know what that's going to do to malpractice insurance and things like that, because that's huge. And it just
they're going to stop offering it.
That's what I think.
Oh yeah, this is going to be really fast.
I was going to say, honestly, until that happens to a show, then none of that stuff's going to stop. But I see your point, and I'll draw a parallel there. Is like, until somebody comes along and actually sues one of these shows because they said X show made me gay or made me think I was gay or transitioned at an early age, then this shit will stop, right? It'll be like the satanic panic all over again, and then we'll be going through this cycle. And then so at some point, some people will say, well, these shows aren't making everybody gay. It's like,
right,
whatever. It's like,
yeah.
There was even stuff in the Epstein.
Peppa the Pig, where they had
Peppa the Pig. That's right.
They had a fairly overt episode, and if the producers get sued, your cartoon influenced, my kid, blah blah blah. But then on the other hand, you as a parent were too lazy and you just stuck the kid in front of the TV without watching it with them.
100%. Or just
and that's kind of the same problem with the satanic panic crap back in the day too. Was like, what's the real question here? Is, are you paying attention to what your fucking kids are doing? Right? Like that's really what it boils down to.
That's why it really would be difficult to kind of litigate that.
It is.
I mean, on Netflix, there's literally the first thing you see is your preferences.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And I think it should all this content. I'm not trying to say any of this content ought to be censored. Don't hear me saying that. I will just say that there have been some recent developments that I think might naturally cause the brakes to get pumped. Even in the Epstein files, there was stuff about him supporting trans surgeries for kids and stuff.
Wow. Yeah. Like I couldn't. Did you see Bill Maher talk about that shit?
I couldn't believe he
I had to check. I'm like, is this AI?
Yeah, right.
I mean, it didn't look AI, but I'm like, I just want to make sure, because for those who don't know, real quick, I'm not going to specify, but there's a certain group of people that were conspiracy theorists, let's say.
Right.
That Bill Maher even come out and flat out said, we owe them an apology.
Oh, yeah. The Pew Believers or something. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said that to Stephen Smith.
Yeah. And I'm saying, you go, is this fucking real?
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
I wish I'd seen the whole episode, because Stephen Smith just sits there and does this the whole time. that Bill Maher's going on.
Well, this
But-
is why I kept saying, like, keep an eye on Bill Maher. Like, you may not like him as a person or whatever. I don't give a shit. That's not the point. And yes, he used to be like one of those people who kind of stay really in the center of things a lot of the time, even though he always leaned left. He's one of the few people in the last few years who's actually going, hold the fuck up.
Yeah.
We are acting insane over here. How can we expect these people over here to take us seriously?
Well, he's doing
He's
that
the-
more than ever.
More than ever,
Almost
but like
every
before,
week
he was
now.
one of the first ones starting to do that on their
Yeah.
side of the aisle.
Right.
That's true.
And,
and to-
yeah, it's like
Go ahead.
he doesn't always hit the target, but it's like, man, he's at least challenging a lot of his guests when they like say like outlandish,
100%.
Billie
Well, and
Eilish,
what it-
outlandish Billie Eilish shit.
Right, and we're getting to this point though where we're going to find out. Like, look, it's pretty obvious what we're saying. Like this was what I was saying about this whole thing. Will it make a change? Like going back to the initial question that was brought up to the table here, I think it was Paul that brought it up. No, I don't think it'll change it right away, but I do think we're going to start to see some sort of change, not drastically, but over time as things go on here, because it's being brought out more. It's being said out more. Like it's almost kind of like one of those things where, like the whole thing with the church and the kids, right? It went on and on and on until people started finally talking about it and bringing it out to the forefront, and everybody kept denying it and pretending it didn't exist until they're finally like, yeah, it did actually happen. And then they're like, yeah, it actually happened as bad as you thought. No, it actually is worse than you thought, right? So that's kind of where I think we're at this level here with Netflix. That's kind of what it felt like, how it was unraveling in the session that I saw. It's like, we admit we have some gay stuff in our entertainment. It's not a big deal though. And then by the end of it, you got people going like, well, you literally have this percentage and this percentage of characters on your shows have it, or this percentage of shows, which is like a 90-some percentile of your shows, have an LGBTQ character in them.
Yeah.
Right. And of all the children's shows, like I said before, almost every single one of their kids' shows has. And Ted could have got away with like, look, we license a lot of this stuff, is what he could have said.
Yeah, he didn't say that.
And he didn't. I'm like,
Right.
why aren't you just backing out and going, look, I don't create this shit. Like I said to people before, it's like, look, we can bitch about Stranger Things all day long and bitch about Netflix all day long, but it's not like Teddy sent them a note going, oh, make sure you have a 5-minute scene where everybody sits there and listens to the character tell them they're gay. That's not the way these things work. So he
No.
could have backed out and said, like, this has nothing to do with me. I'm just the distributor.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and he
he didn't
kind of
do that?
said, go ahead.
He didn't do that.
No, the
No,
most he
I
says
didn't hear him.
you can block this stuff with the pass with the
Right.
you know.
And that's
With
why I
the
think it
system.
was just a public flogging. I think it was just he knew what he was coming in for. Come in and let us yell at you and lambast you or whatever.
Gotcha.
So for I think most of your Midnight's Edge viewers, one other thing I wanted to mention, that BBC study that they did last week where they realized the colorblind casting and tokenism is not helping the BBC. That I think that's just one more block in sort of these things where maybe the world is starting to heal, but
Well, I think it's funny, like when Hollywood is slow and when they're fast on things. They just hired an incredible amount of activists in all their departments, and we've been seeing that for the last 5-10 years, and now the backlash, whether it seems to be just, it's like, all right, well, we got to let you go because we got to, this is what we get for giving multi-million-dollar deals to the leaders of BLM, et cetera, et cetera. These are not entertainment people.
right.
There used to be great entertainment with a great message because entertainers knew how to do that shit. Creatives knew how to do that shit.
Well,
And so,
Sarandos
no.
did kind of push back. You remember the trans mutiny over the Chappelle specials at Netflix? You had people walking out
True.
from their jobs.
He was one of the first.
Yeah.
Mm.
But you would think that it would mean that he is standing up to that sort of pressure. I don't know. Perhaps for Midnight's Edge viewers, the big news was what he said to Cory Booker about Sinners and Superman, though, don't you think?
Yeah,
balls.
let's talk about that. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because I've been bombarded with some of that stuff. It's like, look, what's funny is they brought Sinners into the mix.
Because I thought about
Because-
you right away, bro.
I'm like,
Yeah.
look. First of all, Teddy's got his own fucking agenda here. He's got to make both companies look not so big, right? Like that's kind of the whole point of this hearing. He's got to make both companies look like if they merge, it's not a big deal because Warner Brothers is a failing, flopping fish right now. Netflix is coming in to save it. And Netflix isn't as big and influential as you think it is. What are you talking about? Like, no, that's what this whole hearing was supposed to be. Like, don't make any fucking mistake about that, guys. So, like, a lot of people are like, oh, well, he flat out said Superman was a flop. It's like, how the fuck does he know? Like, and not only that, it's up to him to make things look bad for Warner Brothers because he wants to buy this thing. And he's got to make Warner Brothers look like the smallest people on the block when right now they're the biggest people on the block. Now, as far as Superman numbers go, compare it to Sinners and F1 and some of these other movies that they said are hits. I've said this already. At the end of the day, if you know how movie math works, a movie like F1 cost Warner Brothers a hell of a lot more money than Superman did. Why? Because F1 was a movie that they flat out paid $200 million for. They wrote a check out of their bank account for $200 million. Do you think they really wrote a check for $225 million and handed that to James Gunn? No. That's not how Superman worked. Superman had a bunch of deals with like the Milk Bone and all the other stuff. So that stuff all got brought into the production. They had tax credits and all that kind of stuff. They actually made the movie. They produced it. They actually paid for the production, as opposed to F1 that was pre-produced for them, pre-packaged, pre-made. They just bought it. Okay. Now F1 did well overseas, which is great for them, but it didn't do diddly squat in the US. Superman did the flip-flop opposite. It did very good in the US, didn't do so great overseas. But at the end of the day, the fact that it did better in the US was better for Warner Brothers than anything F1 did. Sinners, on the other hand, is a whole nother animal because what was who's the director again? Coogler, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Ryan.
He
Coogler.
owns the movie. See, this was one of the things that people didn't pay attention to, and we talked a little bit about here on Midnight Sedge or After Dark, one of the two, I can't remember at the time. But there was this deal made with him about this movie that everybody was up in arms about at the studio because he ends up eventually owning this movie and he got a big chunk of it right up front. So I don't even know if Warner Brothers made much money off of Sinners because of Coogler's deal. He had one of these deals that nobody's had ever in Hollywood. Like, I think even Tarantino doesn't even have these good of deals. Because he owns like his movies, but I think he doesn't own distribution part of it. He just has to sign like, the James Cameron type deal. No, in this deal, Coogler actually owns the movie within so many years. Like he owns all the rights. And Warner Brothers won't be able to profit from it anymore after that.
So for anybody who didn't watch, what happened was Senator Cory Booker asked them about enforcing that.
And all they said was they pulled it because it wasn't doing so well or whatever. Yeah.
Right. Well, he was asking about that 45-day window, that he sort of promised. And I guess he basically said that, Sinners was extended and Superman was not. And said that right after saying something about extending the window when a movie is successful. So it sort of made it sound like he was saying that Superman was not successful, whereas Sinners was, right?
I mean, in a sense of like Sinners being an original property and Superman being a known entity, Superman did underperform. Nobody is saying it didn't. Yeah. But I want to address this here too, because this is something that constantly gets thrown out there when it comes up to F1. They had money coming in for product placement deals. Doesn't matter. Warner Brothers didn't see any of that. The only people who benefited from that was Brad Pitt and what's his name? Bruckheimer.
The producers.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, they produced the movie. It was already said and done. Okay. They made the movie. They got all their deals with F1 and all the product placement crap. That helped them pay for that movie to get made. Right. Apple bought the movie for $200 million or like 200 some million dollars. Yep. Don't know the exact price. Then Apple turned around and sold distribution rights to Warner Brothers for theaters for $200 million. So Warner Brothers basically paid for this movie. And that's it. Like at the end of the day, because everybody else down the line benefited from him, but not Warner Brothers. That's what I'm trying to get across to people is Warner Brothers didn't see a dime of anything from F1. As far as like the product placement goes, they only got the distribution part of it. So the theatrical run, all that kind of stuff, that had to cover their $200 million and the videos. That's it. So did they cover that? Probably. Same thing with Superman. Did they cover their costs? Probably. At the end of the day. And they're one of the few companies that have been making movies that are. But I just want people to realize that just because they had those deals on that side, it doesn't matter because it was a pre-made movie, negative pickup, whatever you call it, where the movie was already made and Warner Brothers just paid for it.
Yeah.
As opposed to the other side with Superman, they actually physically made that movie with James Gunn in studio in-house.
Yeah.
Right, like that's the big
probably
difference.
made 50 to 100 on F1.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm sure the video sales did amazing
Sure.
because it was selling out constantly.
Of course, the Snyder Bros immediately jumped on this news, this comment. Right?
Yes, and again,
and I think it didn't help that James Gunn had kind of sort of what he was saying about Peacemaker or whatever, because I think all of us were surprised when it went to digital a week before we thought it was
again,
going to, right?
that's the thing is I can't confirm or deny that it was pulled from theaters and put on
Yeah.
digital early because of the box office, but that happens to every single fucking movie that comes out now. So you can't say shit about any of them anymore unless there's specific ones that have special like deals put in place where their movies are in theaters for X amount of days because they made a deal with the director or whatever.
Right.
And I think Sinners was one of those deals
Mhm.
that Coogler made where they made sure that that damn thing was in theaters for X amount of days.
Well, and Warner Brothers owns Superman. I mean, they'll do what they want. Sarandos, I've got his quote here, says, routinely, movies that underperform the window moves a little bit. Superman was a little shorter window. And so the fact that he name dropped Superman, that immediately gave the Snyder Bros, who are hanging on to that 2012 Man of Steel, versus 2020. We're comparing Superman movies to Superman movies. It's just all ridiculous. It really is.
Yeah. Well, and Chris brings up a good point. Like Fantastic Four did much worse. You don't see people dumping on that like they did. And I get it. There was expectations for Superman that weren't there for maybe Fantastic Four, and that's fair. But at no point has anybody said it was this huge hit either.
Right.
We've all said the same thing pretty much, and that is that it either underperformed or barely made money. Now, that being said, at this point, though, it's also the biggest superhero movie out there right now compared to anything else. Like, no superhero movies are doing well.
Yeah.
Unless your name is Deadpool or Spider-Man, get the fuck out of here right now, basically. Like, that's where you're at. Even the Batman can't make $1 billion right now.
I just think we're kind of beyond that genre. I think that
I
genre
agree.
is kind of played out, and they can still wring some profit from it. But they're gonna
It
to
could
make
have
some
went
more
longer if it
interesting
wasn't
stuff.
for this woke shit. I mean, that kind of goes along with this whole thing.
Well, it looks
in a
like
roundabout way.
Supergirl's not tracking all that great. I don't think there's as much interest in Supergirl. I don't know if that's just because it's Supergirl or if it's based on the
I don't think they ever planned on Supergirl to be nearly as big as Superman,
not.
from what I heard.
Yeah. I hope not.
I think the thing that Supergirl's going to have going for it is Lobo. Basically,
Yeah, they need to continue pushing that as much as they can. Jason.
Yeah, I mean, Momoa is a huge, of all those.
no, and I don't
Momoa's
think the
the
studio
biggest
ever
draw.
expected it to do that well either. I mean, I think because I know the budget on that's much less than Superman as well.
And that's how they're going to succeed in the future, is that the budgets have to be they have to be
Well, Clayface is dirt cheap.
under control.
And there's another thing,
That was another thing,
Markiplier.
too, is that Sinners was a lot cheaper
Oh,
to
yeah.
make.
How much was the
And-
actual budget on Sinners, though?
And I think it was 100 million. And
I thought it was a little more than that. But okay.
Optics wise, it's the more successful film, and it's still
That I'm not going to argue.
they'll do the IMAX. I mean, it's running on IMAX right now as we speak. And then you got all the nominations. So it's just optics,
Oh, absolutely.
The big problem is that we've still got an awful lot of stuff to get through the system. DEI is not dead. The thing that people don't talk about is that no one anticipated the level of DEI Hunger Games within organizations to happen. These people have become pernicious. They've become nasty. There's an awful lot of people who are not going to give up their positions and their decision-making positions, and the fact, coupled with the brainwashing that somehow they're doing good. Really, the thing that everybody wants is fairness, and to be treated fairly. And if there are rules, that everyone follows the same rules, and if they go against the rules, that everybody gets punished equally. This is the stuff that DEI blew up. Suddenly, there were 1 million rules for different people at different stages, and it's just going to take an awful lot of time to flush the DEI Hunger Games out, and we're seeing this in this Netflix thing, and there's more under the iceberg than I think these guys are willing to let on.
Well, I think Chris, you're the only one who really hasn't answered if you think it's going to go through or not as far as the Senate.
Oh no, I think it's going through. Yep, I think it'll go
Yeah,
through.
yeah, Chris is right. This is performative theater.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
But it could have an effect. I mean, you know why it could have an effect?
Hmm.
Because it's actually at the tail end of all this nonsense.
That's true.
I think it's easier for them to right now realize that they have been caught up in this exactly the same era of the discredited recovery memory therapy era. Remember that, where suddenly psychologists were recovering memories from their clients that they were being raped and just terrible things happening, and people lost their livelihood, their jobs, they were put into jail. And then finally it turned out that this was just psychiatry going nuts. We're in the middle of that right now too. All of this is just exactly the same thing. And we're seeing now, again, as Chris mentioned, the lawsuit that just went through, there's going to be a tsunami of changes happening. And it's very easy for the Netflix guys and the Warner Brothers guys to say, oh no, we've learned our lesson. Well, they have no choice because it's clear which way the wind is blowing. This is easy now. If you asked them this 5 years ago, they probably would have been would have pushed back a little bit more, but not right now. This is an easy thing to respond to.
I agree.
The writing
I
on the
agree with
wall.
you, Paul. And again, I think that this was almost kind of I mean, I'm not saying that they talked ahead of time and set it up, but I had a feeling like you're right. I think that they knew that this was kind of part of the dog and pony show, that like the horse and pony show, whatever you want to call it, where they knew they had to come out here and say, oh yeah, well, we have this stuff, but because after that hearing, we thought maybe we should reassess things, and that's why some of this stuff is going away. You're not wrong, and I guarantee this was already kind of part of the plan. I agree with you 110%.
Well, at least between the Warner and Netflix guy.
Yeah. I mean, because that's the thing. Warner, they haven't really been all that woke. I mean, Sinners is probably one of the wokest things they put out in the last couple of years, if you really want to boil it down. And even that just got passed because, it is, Paulie. Watch it again. It's pretty woke. Anyway.
We're not going to have this good discussion right now.
It is a piece of shit over fucking rated movie at the end of the day. I'm going to say it.
That's
it's
a different
flat out.
discussion.
It's a total different stream.
Yeah. But anyhow, like, as far as this goes, like, yeah, I think you guys are right. I think this is a big show. This is going to go through. No problem.
I wish it didn't.
But at the same time, it's the lesser of two evils, I think, because I really don't think Paramount and Warner Brothers merging is the answer either.
Well, no, but wait, don't you think Warner Brothers could survive on its own? Just can't, like.
Yes, I agree. I wish that's what the regulatory commission would say, is like, yeah, no, they got to stay their own entity. I just don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, that was brought up. I can't remember which senator mentioned it, that the consolidation is this. It was Ted Cruz who mentioned whenever this consolidation, do the prices go down or do the prices go up?
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, and a lot of time when these kind of things happen, it's usually to hide the loss in certain companies, and that's kind of where I'm hearing from, like, the Paramount side of this is coming from, is the bigger reason why Ellison really wants this company is because it's going to help hide all the problems that Paramount has. Even though Warner Brothers is not as good as, I love that Paulie just pointed that out, because it's not only that Warner Brothers is in like perfect shape, they're not in great shape, don't get me wrong, but they're in better shape than Paramount, to where the two companies merge, it's going to make Paramount look a lot better at the end of the day. And that's kind of what I've been hearing is the big thing about this. So we'll see what happens here, but I just don't know I think we'd have a similar problem if Ellison was the one who was on the hot seat here, or whatever you want to call it, because frankly, there's a lot more monopoly issues when it comes to Paramount and Warner Brothers merging than there is with Netflix. Because that, I think, would have been Teddy's better argument all day long, would have been like, look, you guys are talking about two completely different animals here, right? And that's part of the reason why we want to get into this business, because we don't have a theatrical distribution model. That's what Warner Brothers is. We're a digital distribution model. See, that's where
Holly-
Teddy would have been smart.
Hawley demanded a 45-day theatrical window. That was a
Yeah.
weird thing for him to ask for.
Not really, because I bet he gets donated money from NATO or whatever, because the National Theaters Association or whatever you call it, or organization.
You know,
but
again, it's still all
Think of that
performance.
question.
Senate cannot block this. All they can do is apply political pressure. They can recommend a block. They could influence the next DOJ nominee, but they're not going to change DOJ. It's really down to the DOJ and the FTC. That's it.
But
All this is
Randos
doing.
agreed to the 45-day window.
Well,
of course he's going to.
Also,
'Cause either
the-
that's already in writing. Oh, go ahead, Polly. What?
it was going to be a joke. No, don't worry.
Oh. I was say he's already got it somewhere in writing already because of whatever deal that was going to be made, or
Maybe, yeah.
that's exactly what he wants anyway, and he's going to say that. And it's good. And I think he was trying to get out there that it's going to matter more on the product that's put out, right? Like, and that's why he brought up Superman. Is like, if you have something that will benefit them more by pulling it from theaters, then they're going to do that. Is what he's saying.
Yeah.
And he's going to basically expect to be treated just like every other studio. Is what it's going to boil down to. And that's kind of where I feel like it was kind of dumb for him not to just kind of get onto that horse and ride it all the way home, because it's like, I've been saying it from the start. That's why this thing is going to go through, is because Netflix and Warner Brothers are not exactly the same. One is a movie studio, a film distribution studio that produces film. The other is just a digital platform. That's it. Like, at the end of the day, Netflix doesn't really do all that much. Yes, they produce some things, but it's like they still even have other production companies that are doing it for them. I mean, Paul, you know what I'm talking about, because a lot of that
Yeah.
stuff's shot up in Canada and all that stuff. So,
Although an awful lot of stuff is pitched directly to Netflix.
yeah, and it used to be the joke, right? Like anybody could get a Netflix show made, right? Like
Oh, yeah, not
That-
anymore.
those days are gone. But
Yeah.
like even shows like Stranger Things, as much as we associate them with Netflix, they're not even the primary production company listed as on the show. So, you know, and some of their other hits too, like Cobra Kai, that's a Sony production.
Right. But it was, by way of YouTube Red. And
Right. But my
it
point
was
is a lot of it's licensed, and I can't believe he didn't lean into that. So, yeah.
well, I
that was
mean,
my
again,
point,
that
too.
was at the beginning of Netflix looking for anything, everything.
Mm.
That went
They still
back.
do, though.
Well, they're quite an impenetrable fortress now, and unless you have personal sway, you need to get a Netflix-approved agent or producer to pitch a show to them. You can't just have any agent pitch them. It's. I mean, they are a popular girl in town.
I think Serranos was kind of trying to make this point. Thermal
But
says
they're
here, Netflix
not.
is a publisher,
I
not
know
like
so
YouTube.
many people.
They're not. Yeah.
YouTube is a publisher. Netflix makes decisions on the projects that they put money into. They have an effect.
Yeah. Yeah. At the end of the day, I think that's the main thing. Well, let's see what you guys out there had to say about this. We had El Shada Island. Ilord? I'm really screwing that one up. El
El Shaddai
Dale's Lord. El Shaddai
is Lord.
is Lord. There we go. 8 months you've been a member. Sorry I screwed up your name. And then we got Chris J827 who sends in 5 and says, "Did you already talk about Ted Sarandos saying Superman flopped?" Yes, we just did. Did he really say that? I don't think he said it flopped. He just said that it underperformed, or I don't even know if he used those words. He just said that it wasn't doing as hoped or whatever, so they pulled it earlier. I don't remember the exact terminology used. I have to bring up the video again, but yeah, it was not nearly as bad as what people were making it out to be at the end of the day either. But the point of it is that he was trying to argue that not everything's going to sit in the theaters for 45 days. And he's not wrong, but that's not what they were trying to get him to answer there. So, yeah. Pack of Proton says, "My mom wanted to know why that one guy on the panel swore every other word a month ago." Was that me or who? I don't know anybody else who swears like I do.
Was
Dark
that
King
your
said-
mom? Or was it the white dude or the brown dude?
Yeah, that's right. It could be
Or the
Paul.
bald dude.
Could have been me.
And it was never you, Chris. You don't use that much.
Chris,
Nothing,
Chris so hard. He wants to be hard so much.
It was me or Chado.
I feel hard. Never mind.
I don't want to hear that. Dark King 616 says the superhero genre was poisoned, not played out. Yes, that was kind of what I was getting to. Is they could have kept going with this, but unfortunately, the MCU and some other things made it really, really bad. So yeah, let's move past this story because I think we've
Hey, quick,
talked about it long
quick
enough.
time out. I got to bail. I got remodelers have just arrived and they're making
just
a
saw
bunch
that in
of
the back
rackets.
here.
So I'm sorry to bail out early, guys. I really hope to stay a little longer.
No, that's fine. Actually, there's not a whole lot left. You might want to stick around for 2 seconds though, because
2 seconds.
this is not a drill. This is real, kids.
Uh-oh.
Let me bring this up here. Should have had it ready. I didn't know we were gonna be jumping that fast.
I've already seen the Klingon in a skirt. So if
No.
this-
This is not AI, guys. This is real.
Oh, boy.
Cynthia Erivo is playing Dracula.
Come on. Is this a
This
movie?
is fucking real. I looked it up. No, it's a play. But for 16 weeks, you can go see Cynthia play the role she was born to play. There's a story for you over on Bleeding Fool.
Yeah. Golly. Well, she's leaning into it. So good for her.
So that should be Dragula.
Oh,
Perfect.
well, good luck with your remodeling.
Yeah, thanks.
Chris.
Hey, I am glad I stuck around for that. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it was worth it.
Paul, Paulie, Tom, have a good one. And Andre, wherever you are, I hope it's a great place to be.
This would have been cool if it was called "I'm Blackula, bitch."
That would have been interesting. I would
would've
actually
been
probably
dope.
seen that.
Like
Uh,
call it Blackula.
Scott
yeah.
Blackula.
Scott
I think there was
Blackula.
a Blackula.
Yeah, we had Blackula and Blackula 2. And then this could be the Blackula's daughter. Yeah.
Blackalicious.
It's
no, let me
Blackalicious. You got to have Chris Rock in it. Say that, though. That's the thing. She's Blackalicious. That's the only way it works. I can't believe I thought I saw this. I'm like, this has got to be AI. This is somebody poking fun. No fucking way.
Well, this is where this stuff has always lived, right?
Yes.
These retellings with different settings, different groups of people, ethnicities, all this stuff is the theater.
Yeah, Paulie is. I was just going to say, you beat me to it. The theater has always been a great place for experimentation.
I mean, that's where the Wiz started. And then, I mean, I have no issues with that. Again, I've never had a problem with any of this stuff to where it's like, if you're going to do it like the Wiz. Like, if you're going to go all out, give me black something, then just do it. That's what I want. And that's kind of what Blackula is at the end of the day, too. If you look at it, it's like, we're just going to do it. We're going to make Black Dracula. Like, like, why not? Fuck it. Gay Dracula, too. Why not? Do it if you're going to do it. Rocky Horror that shit all up, at the end of the day.
I don't think we've ever had a problem with original content being woke, being gay, whatever. It's the incessant need for a group of people to change popular IPs that we've enjoyed for decades, and it turns out that they didn't enjoy it, and somehow they got the job to manage it, and they didn't like the people who created it, and they hated the people who liked it for decades even more, and also funded it for decades. This is the weirdest mystery.
That's
why
it.
these organizations actually brought people in who hated the stuff that we like. Like that, this is never going to be answered.
That's exactly kind of what the point I was getting to earlier, Paul, with all the other stuff. But you're not wrong. It's like, look at Mel Brooks as a good example. He made Blazing Saddles because he loved Westerns.
Yep.
He made Spaceballs because he loved those sci-fi shows and in movies like Star Wars and Star Trek. These people don't like this shit. You're 100% right. They're not making this stuff out of love. Even Rocky Horror is a great example, right? Like it's quiche, it's campy, and it's making fun of all the 50s and 60s sci-fi stuff, but it's also based in love of those things, right? It unapologetically loves how campy those things are, and that's kind of what they're doing. So you're 100% right, and I know you had to take
Even
a call
some of
there.
the,
Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
What's the drag queen's lady? What was a drag queen? The famous one. The John Waters.
Divine.
Divine. Some of the Divine, movies are like that as well. I mean, more
John
fringe.
Waters shit's just crazy. Yeah,
more fringe, but it was they were having a blast doing
Yeah,
it.
but nobody complained about them. Those were original
and
IPs.
it had an audience.
Yeah.
No, but But
It is.
even like if I agree with Paulie though, had like 20 years ago, John Waters goes like, "I'm gonna make gay Dracula." I bet you he would have made the funniest fucking gay Dracula movie in the world, because the whole thing is he's supposed to go bite a virgin's neck, but he doesn't want to. You know what I mean? Like that would have been fucking hilarious. It's basically the same thing as the Polish vampire movie, but still, it would have been hilarious. At least he wasn't gay though; he was just weird.
And my point I wanted to make with this, and what we're all talking about, is that they got self-aware, and they got too serious. So it's, you know what you're gonna get just by looking at this poster.
See, and this is a good point here too. They think they're making the definitive versions. Like The Wiz never pretended it was being the definitive version. You're 100% right.
Even go back to West Side Story, the 50s Broadway, West Side Story. You know, that had a strong message.
Yep.
And it's Romeo and Juliet.
Mhm.
You know,
Gay
so-
Dracula sucking on something else other than blood.
Ooh.
That's a John Waters movie waiting to happen right there.
But we've also kind of lost those John Waters, David Lynch.
Exactly. He can't even make his kind of movies anymore. Even his movies would be considered, because I mean, you even go back through his stuff, and outside of maybe Crybaby and a couple of the lesser, the more mainstream stuff. Exactly. Yeah. Like Pink Flamingos. Who the fuck would watch that nowadays and say, "Oh, this is okay"?
Well, I think he wanted to shock people. I mean,
Well, absolutely he did.
that was the goal of it. There was no doubt that he wanted to raise the ire of all the straights out there.
But not just that, everything was on the table. He made fun of gays and straights.
But
See,
who
that's
does
the
that
thing.
now?
Nobody, not
young
like him.
filmmakers, weirdos. You know, that's theater and film is the welcoming place for weirdos
And trouble.
and their creative mind and their creative visions. You know, who's out there?
Well, like I said, we're in this middle ground where a bunch of people thought that they are doing the best for humanity, when in fact we're now found out that the opposite has happened. But I've always said that you can't teach goodness. You have to be good at teaching, and then you take by example the way you're being treated by someone. Being hammered by a teacher telling you how to be good is never going to work. In fact, you're going to get pushback. And that's what we're in the middle of. We're in the middle of a nanny statism, and it's never going to work.
You're right, Paul, because every Catholic girl is a saint.
Well, it sure worked out, didn't it?
That's exactly the point.
We
Yeah.
had this was decades ago, but we had some stat up here in Canada where Catholic girls got pregnant out of wedlock more often than the non-religious girls.
Well, that was kind of my point, is like the more you wag a finger at somebody and tell them not to do something, they're going to be like, I'm going to fucking do that. Now, you lead by example, that's a different thing. You can't teach somebody the type of things that a role model can, right? Because it's not something you teach so much as you see somebody acting a certain way or react a certain way, and that's how you learn in life.
And,
right? Like,
and
that's a big thing I've had to come to decide.
I think there's been a whole, this is another topic, I'll just briefly mention this.
Sure.
Is that there's been this notion that somehow we've got to nip certain things in the bud. And just because I grew up with this, the notion that the school should help some kid who might be gay and have potentially parents that aren't into it, and somehow we got to circumvent and go around the parents and hide the identity of the kid. And I know people who had a horrible time of it early on, and maybe for them it took them a couple of decades to sort it out with their parents. And sometimes you cannot change time. You can't advance time quickly. Sometimes, people are going to go through a horrible situation, but if you let them figure it out on their own, they're going to come out of it better at the very end, more loving, more understanding, and instead of a group of strangers sticking themselves into the middle of the situation and actually making it worse and actually making it last longer and creating a level of distrust. So it's not the same for everyone, but I have seen it, and Paulie can talk about alcoholism. Sometimes you are what you are when you are, and sometimes the journey has to be the journey. And this is what drives me nuts with a lot of this social justice stuff, is that they think they can circumvent the journey. Yes, it's tragic. Yes, it might take longer than it should, but the journey is different for every single person. You can't shorten it.
boy got deep at the end of this slide.
Sorry, I just, it's something I'm working on, and I believe in it strongly. I can't stand this aspect of teaching.
In short,
Thank you for summarizing.
in short, none of what you post, I'm talking like to the SJWs, of what you post on this keyboard means shit until you go in the real world and you try to practice that shit. You practice that shit, you know what? Life has a great way of slapping you in the face and saying, nah, this is my house.
Yeah.
This is my house. You know, you go protest, you go do your thing, and you're acting like a hero. Hey, that's your right. This is a wonderful country, right? But you cross that line and you catch a federal case, and your life is ruined for decades.
Yeah. Oh,
Lesson
no.
learned.
Well, I mean, you're speaking truth there, Paulie, and I think I think that's kind of where the final read, the big whole woke wall is going to hit, or however you want to put it, or you're going to hit the wall. The wall, woke's going to hit the wall, or however you want to put it at this
It's in the
point.
wall
Because
right now.
yeah, I mean, it's only so far it can go. There's only so far you can band-aid the world for these people. There's only so far that you can baby them and let them have their way and let them disrupt everybody's lives for as long as they have. It's ridiculous. I mean, even the 60s in some cases weren't this bad. I mean, I'm not saying they weren't. They were in most cases, but there was sometimes where you're just like, God dang, like at least then they had a reason to bitch, you know, like
Right.
this is just. But anyhow, that being said, I think we're going to wrap this up for this Friday. It was a long discussion about Serranos, and we did get a little chuckle in there about Cynthia Erivo playing Dracula. So let's get out of here. Paul, when's my TV Guide video dropping?
Any year now.
Today would be a great day.
It's not happening today. I got to clean up the basement. I'm moving my studio around.
Interesting. Wow. Hopefully, what do you got coming up instead then in the meantime?
I am working on some appalling news today. Hopefully it'll be out today.
All right, that sounds good. Paulie, what you got going on?
I'll be live later today with a filmmaker. He's got his movie debuting at the Slam Dance International Film Festival, and that'll be a great conversation. And yeah, always new videos and stuff. Stop on by.
Awesome sauce. So check these guys out, and of course check out Bleeding Fool as well. And take care of yourselves and each other. As Andre says, it is time for Koalas in the
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given. Koalas in the rain.